chivalry. Apparently it's wanted, dead or alive. So, let's dig into it. Let me turn this thing down. Let me turn this volume down. Is it all the way? Oh, no. So, we made it to Friday. I know what day it is because I ain't got to go to work tonight. So, that's a good thing. And I'm screen recording from my other phone to see how that whole thing works out. Maybe I can get the whole file. And today's topic is courtesy of our good friend Dr. J, who's out eating right now, but she knows that every day at 5:30 her presence is needed on Mars. So we'll get it on and started without her. She'll probably be in the comments with Twitter fingers. And we'll have a conversation, maybe about an hour and 15 minutes. I got some other stuff I got to do. About chivalry. What is the definition? How do you define chivalry as a woman, right? What are your expectations of a chivalrous man? And does it still exist? And if it does exist, does it exist in mass? Or is it just something that's kind of scarce? Is there a scarcity of chivalrous men? That is the question. So, that's what we're talking about today. And as soon as we get enough people in here, we'll sit down and we'll have a conversation. And y'all could tell me y'all's expectation of men and chivalry. But y'all know I'm going to have questions. I'm going to be like, looking around. So, let's see. I just waved at myself. I was like, why is that popping up on my phone? I just waved at myself. So, I'm a little confused having this other phone down here. So, let me see. Y'all can hear me okay? Make sure y'all can hear me. Make sure my volume up. Let's see. What am I doing here? Sent out the invite. Aw, man. It's glitchy on this end. It's glitchy on this end. What, you in the woods?
Hey.
What's happening, Nikki? How you feeling? Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. I'm feeling wonderful because it is Friday.
Yeah. It's a good day. It's nice outside today, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I just trying to make sure my boots wasn't acting up.
Oh, your Boost Mobile? Oh, so let me ask you this. How do you define
Okay.
chivalry? How do you define chivalry?
I guess I define chivalry as grace. I do believe in chivalry being a multi-benefit thing. Like, I think a lot of time the pressure is just on men and how they were raised. But I mean, chivalry is, I think it's both sides. I think if we're going to go into the um, more traditional aspect of men when it comes to chivalry, then we have to also think of the traditional aspects with women as it pertains to chivalry.
Okay, so do you think chivalry's dead?
You know what, Sally? I do. I feel for these youngins. I feel for them to have to shop. For them to have to shop for spouses these days because I don't even know. It's like, where's the home training? That's where
Hold
I
on.
think it starts.
So you say you feel sorry for the youngest. You talking about the young women?
Both young men and young women. You know, now that I am a mom to both male and female children, I get to see it from, the different perspectives. I mean, the pickings are reflective of what it is that is being poured into these youngins on both sides, male and female. It's not promising.
Okay, so you know how like when you get into an argument when you were a kid, or even adults do it. They'll be like, "But they did this first." So who did it first? Like, whose fault is it? Who our fault or is it y'all fault? Who hit who first?
Well, I can speak for me personally. I know that those I don't want to call them tactics because that's a bad word, but I want to say that the more chivalry that was shown in my way in my younger years, I'm honest enough to say it was not appreciated. It was lost on me at that time, and I think that for a lot of people, it's probably not something that you really appreciate unless you have like a base of um, like a religious base, a moral base, or once you get older, and then you start to appreciate it in ways that you didn't when you were younger. Because I didn't. I'm gonna be real. I didn't.
So you think there was a lack of? So you think that chivalry existed, right, to a good enough degree, and then there was a lack of appreciation. You know what? I can see that. I don't know if I agree with it wholeheartedly, but just in principle, I know how it is. I know how we as humans take the norm for granted, right? It's
Yeah.
very easy to take the norm for granted. So when the when someone conducts themselves optimally on a day in day out basis, um, it's easy for that to become the norm, and the norm it's easy for the norm to be taken for granted, right? Oh, Nikki, you stuck. Oh, I'm going to bring you out, bring you back in. You gotta get past them trees. You gotta get past them trees. Hold on. Oh, my girl Julie in here. Hold on. All right, so we had to drop. What up, Jay? We had to drop Nikki out. Hopefully, hey Nikki, when you come back, just request to come back in. I'll get you back in here. But what we were saying is like the if at one point most men were chivalrous, there is a good, a good chance that chivalrousness was taken for granted, right? So when you expect something, it's easy for you to take it for granted. So I mean that's a possibility, but I mean also men have done some bad things throughout history to women too. So who knows what came first, whether it was the chicken or the egg. Let's get my girl Julie Bean in here and see what's crack-a-lacking in the peninsula. Julie Bain to the principal's office. I wonder if I still screen recording over here. You all right, Julie? How you feeling? I see you laying down.
Hi.
Don't hurt yourself. I'm a chivalrous guy. I don't want you to hurt yourself trying to just rap to me on the Mars mindset. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm trying to do here.
So what's the question?
Say again?
I said, what is the question?
Is chivalry dead?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
I experienced it for a long time, and I keep telling myself that if I was able to experience it, then there's got to be somebody else out there willing to do the same.
So you experienced it for a long time. Was that with like one person, or you mean just in mass, like you've experienced it most of your life?
No, with one person.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we know there's at least one chivalrous guy in existence.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I hope that there's another one out there.
Okay,
Hopefully.
so go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to look at the cup half full, basically.
Hey, I mean,
Because
you can look at the cup however you want to look at the cup. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. So, but let me ask you this: you were in a relationship with someone who was chivalrous. What were the things that he did that you defined as chivalrous, so that we can know, so that I can know when I do this, I'm being chivalrous, at least in Julie Bean's definition.
so for me, in my experience, like, for example, I never opened doors. I never walked on the wrong side of the road. I never had to go out of my way to get something done. Like he was always aware, and it was a feeling of um like being treated almost like a princess, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So there's a bit of catering that occurs, right?
Yeah. And I
Okay,
thought it was temporary, but it wasn't. He was just raised that way.
okay, cool. So we can surmise that chivalrous men are raised by their parents or whoever raised them to be chivalrous, right?
Yeah.
Based
Yeah.
on Julie B's experience. Okay, cool. So we got that out the way. Now my question to you would be, what do you offer, or what should a woman offer in order to be treated chivalrously? Or should chivalry just be the default and women don't necessarily have to earn it?
Um, I think that's a great question because in my experience, that was his default. So I was just very, I was appreciative, and I went out of my way to make life a little more comfortable for him. Like, make sure the house was always clean, make sure there was always food. Like, even if I didn't feel like cooking, I would take it upon myself to order food and at least have food ready or whatever. Um, Laundry, all those things, because I felt like that's the least that I could do to make things easier, for him. But that was because it was his chival. I don't know how you say it. Chival was
Chival- Chivalry.
his chivalry was consistent for like 10 years. Like, it wasn't a let me do this to get her, and I had never experienced that before.
Okay, so that was his default, right?
Hmm.
Everything that you did, everything that you talked about that you did, are those things your default, or did you do those things because he was chivalrous?
They are my default because I was raised that way, but I know how to turn that off if I don't think you deserve it.
Okay, so is it fair for me as a man to not be chivalrous if you don't deserve it?
I think that would be fair to say. Because if you're
Okay,
like a mean, I, if I'm a man and you're mean, just to be, I ain't opening the door for you.
okay. So we understand that. So it's a symbiotic type of thing. So I asked Leo as I was coming upstairs to jump on the live. I'll ask you because she didn't know the answer, and I kind of have an answer, but I didn't at the time. If chivalry is expected of men, what is that opposite but like thing that's expected of women?
I think, in every situation it's going to be different, but I think the woman should make his life easier somehow. Like, for example, you work overnight, right? So you work overnight. So I think that if you're a chivalrous man to your wife, I think that because you work overnight, maybe when you're awake at whatever time you wake up, something should be something should be made easier for you. I don't know what you do when you wake up, but something that you won't have to add on to your plate. Like, that's what I think a woman should do if he is that way with her. Because, I mean, nowadays, nobody needs to open your doors. Nobody needs to ensure your safety. Nobody needs to go out of their way to make you feel like a queen, like Yogi Life said. If someone does it because they really want to, and they're consistent, that I would want to do something in return for him, whatever it is. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. Buy him video games. I don't know, whatever it is that he likes. I would
So
do. I
okay, so you and I don't know each other, and I happen to be in front of you as we make our way towards a door that's not an automatic door. is it your expectation for me to open that door and open it and steps aside for you to come in, or am I supposed to just walk in that door and you on your own because you ain't washed my clothes, you ain't taking care of my kids, you ain't cooked me no dinner, my floor is still dusty because I've been at work all day, and all I know is you just a human that's walking behind me.
So I do not live my life assuming that the next person is going to be chivalrous. So I won't expect it.
But you would like it.
I would, because I think it's nice. But like, for example, if you are in front of me and your arm and your hands are full, I'll open the door for you because that's just the nice thing to do for someone. But I wouldn't stand and look at a stranger and like look at the door and insinuate that I'm waiting for you.
Like you just standing there like, hey, I'm
I,
waiting for you to open the door for me. Hey, I can't go in if you don't open this door.
no, I wouldn't do that. But like sometimes I don't know if it's because, you said men are visual, but oftentimes people will open doors for me and whatever, etc. But I don't know if that's like, you know, the real true way that they are, or if
It's like
that's like
the natural motion of opening the door allows me to look at you, right? As you go by.
right.
But does that okay? So the intention, so we digging deep into this, right? Like, it's like you're saying the intention behind the chivalrous act matters.
I think, how could I say this? If 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 you follow through with that intention, then yes. But in my experience, he didn't have no reason to do it. He was just that's how he was brought up, and I didn't realize that until over a course of some time, where I was expecting for all of that behavior to just disappear, and it didn't. So that's
Why
on
would you disappear?
because I wasn't used to that at
Okay, so
all.
okay, right. So um before him, had you dated or had, relationships with anybody who was he the first chivalrous guy that you were with?
Mm,
So okay, so then everyone before him, did you expect chivalry from them, or was he just the first one to show you
no.
what it was? And you're like, oh, this is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, exactly. The latter. Because I didn't expect it. And I was not raised to be waited on. I was always, my parents always taught me, do fend for yourself, do for yourself. But it wasn't until then where I was like, oh, this is nice. And it was consistent. And so now, I mean, I don't know if it's fair to say that that's a quality that I would like, in someone, but I don't know how real it is at this point. He was kind of
So
like a
yeah, you say he's kind of like a unicorn. Okay, so was that your longest relationship?
yeah.
Okay, so your longest relationship is with a chivalrous guy, and that relationship's like 9, 10 years. And your hope is that there's some other chivalrous guy that'll ride the rest of this thing out with you.
Yeah, that's why Sam always said that my checklist is just out of this world, because now I'm like, I want, on top of that, you got to be chivalrous too, but I'm hoping there's somebody out there who is that way.
Dr. A. Hawk said been married for 20 years and the opening doors comes in ebbs and flows. You,
What is
you
that?
won't come on. Let's see if the doctor, I only got all kinds of doctors.
What
I
does
must be
ebbs and flows mean?
ups and downs, right? It means it comes and goes.
Oh,
Right. It
oh,
means something comes and goes. So like how when I talk about like happiness ebbs and flows. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're not, or whatever the case may be. Or doctor isn't coming in. So
yeah, and too, how you said it too. Like, even if we were mad, it was no changed behavior. It was no different than like a regular, like so what, you mad? Don't touch the door. Like it was that kind of consistency.
Was it ever a point when it stopped? Because y'all not together anymore, right?
Well, no. Even now, like every now and then, like if we see each other, it's I think it's just in that person, like that person's nature
Mm-hmm.
to just be that way. Because it was not just with me either. Like it was with his mother, you know, other women or whatever. It wasn't just me. But of course, I was the one who received most of it because I was the one that was there. But I think it was just part of who he was.
Oh, okay. Hey, doctor, is your first initial A and your last name Hulk, or is it
It's Asia Hawkins, yeah.
Okay, Dr. Hawkins, welcome to Mars Mindset. We appreciate your presence. And I was just getting ready to tell Julie, my therapist is a doctor. I interviewed someone else who's a doctor, a couple weeks ago, and you're a doctor. So I must be doing something on my vibrational frequency correct to put me in the place of all of these people with doctorates, right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Welcome to the show. What you think about chivalry? What's your opinion on anything Julie said or that I've said or that you just want to bring to the conversation?
So I guess, I mean, it's hard for me. Like I said, I've been married for 20 years, been with my husband for about 24 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't remember, but I know in the beginning, that's what they'll do. They'll do it to hook you. And when she said, she expected it to end because once he felt as though he hooked her, it's like, I don't got to do it anymore. Because that is what happens. But
no, I said that's what I thought would happen, but
yes,
yeah.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So I understand when you said I thought that was going to happen, but it didn't happen. Yeah. So, but like I said, it comes in ebbs and flows. I mean, sometimes when you've been together for so long, I guess sometimes you'll see it. It'll happen. Doors are get open for you. But sometimes it's just like, oh, we want another mission. We got to get to where we need to go.
So I'll ask you the same thing I asked Julie. What would you consider to be the equal but opposite thing from the female side of chivalry? What is that?
So and I was just having this conversation, and it could be something as simple as, my husband, a lot of times I'll cook before he gets home. Just something simple as leaving his plate in the microwave or in the oven for him, so he can have it ready for him when he gets home.
So that's okay. So we'll come up with a better word for it later, right? But maybe it's something like service, right? Because it's kind of like it's your depth. Because every example y'all are giving is an act of service. Like if you wash my clothes or you clean the house or you cook the food and leave it out for me, it's an act of service. We'll come up with a better word for it later. But you said that chivalry is something that ebbs and flows. Okay, cool. Is service something that you think ebbs and flows with women, or do you think service is more consistent throughout a relationship than chivalry?
So it really depends. Because let's say I work in a school. I'm a school principal. I may have had a rough day one day, and all I want to do is sit down, put my feet up, and have a glass of wine. So it depends on your mood, and I try not to bring stuff from work to home. I really do, but sometimes I need to chill and relax for myself, for my own sanity. So it depends on your day and your situation and how you're letting other things impact your mood.
Julie, you got something to add for the good doctor?
Yeah, I would say for me, I was raised that way. Like my mother, like I worked when I was very young. I started working when I was 11 years old, but my mother instilled in me, whether it's your brother or your father or your partner, if they come home from work, just try to take away another task. And cooking you know, in our culture is a very big thing. So cooking was something where, you know, that's one less thing that they have to be concerned with. But what I learned though, as becoming an adult was you have to be deserving of that as well.
Say that one more.
Because
Say that one more.
I
You have to be deserving
have to
of.
be deserving of that service. Because I also experienced, like, there was a time where my father was, he was a good father, but he was not a good partner. And my mom did not let that phase her. And I used to be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? You know, and I was just like, he's still a provider. He still, you know, runs the household. I'm still going to continue to provide service out of respect. And I'm a little different in that sense where if I'm going to do it, it's because you deserve it as well. It has to be a give and take. Like, you're not going to treat me bad and expect me to make your life easier. Like, that doesn't work for me. So I think that's what the counterpart to the chivalry is. Like, make his life somehow easier, no matter what that situation is. But also because he's such a chivalrous partner too, you know, it's got to make sense to me.
Hmm. So it's kind of like you're saying like there has to be a balance, right? It's reciprocal or it's symbiotic, I guess, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask y'all this: men, we typically our mental software works on like a point system, right? I did this. I've been chivalrous. What do I get in return for my chivalry, right? That's kind of how men operate. And like I watch my wife call, I'm like, okay, well, you know, I kind of want some action, right? Do do women? I'm just telling you how it is. I didn't write the code, but do y'all work like that? Like, let's say I'm chivalrous. I'm a chivalrous person, but I'm a chivalrous guy. But for whatever reason, I've been working. I've been busy. I haven't really been able to really be present and attentive to you in a chivalrous kind of way, you know. But you are still doing all of the things that you do. You're present in your service. Does it work like that? Like, hold on now, like, you know, I didn't wash this man's stinky drawers, right? And I done all of these things and cooked and cleaned, and then we get to the Walmart or whatever, and I still got to open my door. Do y'all work like that? Do y'all minds work like that?
I don't.
Julie, Julie, like, yeah, I do. Go ahead, Julie.
Well, you know, I take that back. I do, like, when I ask for something, I will say when it's time for me to, I don't expect it, but when I ask for something, I don't need no let me think about it kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for, hold on, Doc. What you asking for?
Just anything, period. If I ask you to do something for me, go to the store and pick this up, or, you know, since you're out, go drop this off somewhere, or those kind of things. I don't want no complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want no huffing puffing like, oh man, like, dude, as much as I do.
Yeah. And I
go ahead, Julie, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I know that you're busy, like everyone is busy, right? But for whatever reason, we still tend to keep that in the front of our mind, like the acts of service in the front of our head. So like the doctor said, if I notice that you've been slacking a little bit and then I go to ask for something, I'm gonna expect for you to just say, okay, no problem, and go ahead and get it done, simply because you know you've been slacking too. Like, for whatever reason, we as women, we don't let the house fall apart. And everybody's busy, right? But somehow we still manage to maintain the household and the kids and we don't miss a beat. And nobody ever asks us, How do y'all do it? Everyone is busy, you know, but it's okay for y'all to be busy and just slag off, you know, for however long.
Well,
I think.
so I think so, and that's kind of what the next place I was going, right? Is that I think that everyone thinks that they are the one doing the most contributing in a lot of ways, because like you're always the one doing whatever it is you're doing, right? But I'm not always present to see everything that my wife does, right? But also on the flip side of that, my wife is not always present to see what I go through or what I deal with in order for that house to be maintained too, right? So as my homegirl Coach Jay would say, I think it's important to have conversations about the norms that we bring to the table, because as a woman, you're not going to want to come to me every day 5 days in a row and give me a whole list of everything that you've done. That's going to cause like a problem, right? But those things matter to you, right? And then Doc, I'm a cop, right? So I'm not gonna come home to my wife like I had an incident last night. It could have got real bad. I'm not gonna come home every day and tell my wife about every situation that I was in. But doing this to maintain, for my contribution to maintain this house. And because we don't want to throw up in each other's faces what we're contributing every day, right? We both feel like my wife could be like, I had to do this with the kids. And I'm like, well, I threw the guy last night, but I'm not bothering you about it, right? So I just think that it's important for us, I don't know, maybe ever so often to be like, yo, what are the norms that you feel like I take for granted? Open conversation, you know what I'm saying? What are the norms? What's something you did that I didn't acknowledge you did you would really be grateful for if I was like, hey, darling, I really appreciate you vacuuming the floor.
But the other thing is too, sometimes one may contribute. We know what and it may not be equal all the time. We know what our contributions to the household is. You learn that early on. Like, we didn't have to have a conversation, before my son was old enough to take out the trash, whose responsibility was to take out the trash. But you gotta be okay. But if there's something that you want your spouse to, something extra, like you said, the conversation, is what's important. But you guys too have to show the appreciation to what both of you bring into the household is what your responsibilities are.
Okay, so as women who contribute to the household, what is a way in which, outside of me just being like, hey, I really appreciate you, right? Because everyone has different love languages, right? So if your love language is I don't know, gifts, you like to receive gifts, and I'm coming to you and I'm just like, hey, good job on washing those clothes, right? I'm trying to figure out what are the other things that men could do to show their wives or their girlfriends that they are appreciative outside of just telling you. Ask about what y'all want to eat.
I would tell you to take it one step further and just do what I would do on a regular, like on a day, like just one day. And I remember this a couple years ago. He actually planned like dinner. Like, he don't know how to cook, but he went to the restaurant and got the shrimp, the chicken, and the steak because he didn't know which one I was gonna pick.
Oh man.
And like planned all the dinner. But guess what my favorite part was?
What was the favorite part, Julie B?
The cleanup.
Oh, he cleaned it up once y'all were done with your candlelight and your little. He did, you didn't have to clean it up at all.
He was just like, just sit down and rest, and I was like, because I'm ready to get up and start, and he was like, nah, I got it, and I was like, wow, that was my favorite part.
Hey, you know what, Julie? You just hit on something that I think you hit on something that's really important, right? Essentially, the part that really knocked your socks off was him doing what your normal duties are. So that's a really good answer. You could, to take, to lighten your load.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I like talking to y'all. It's so cool. We be at odds, men and women be at odds, and the media be having us fighting each other. And all we really gotta do is sit down and try to figure out what the other person wants.
Yeah.
So, Doc, you got anything else before we let you slide off? We absolutely appreciate your knowledge and your wisdom.
No, I have nothing else. I will say I've been enjoying you going live these past few days. So I've been watching. So
I appreciate you. I'm here Monday through Friday around 5:30, 5:30. So I appreciate.
Okay.
Keep educating our youngers. We need you.
All right.
All
right. No problem.
All right. Julie Bean, you running out of gas? You sticking around? What you doing?
I'll stick around. Who? When you put somebody else in, then I will help.
You'll slide out. Well, okay. Well, let's see if Coach J was in here. I was gonna bring Coach J in here because I know she likes to have a conversation. Let's see if we can get Nikki back in here if she's not in the woods anymore, and then that'll give Julie Bean a break. I was about to say Julie Breen a bake.
But yeah, that was my favorite part, and I felt a little bad because of all the effort that he had put into it. But it was just the kind of like the relief of not having to do the cleanup and the usual things that we usually do. And it's like the tables were turned, even if it was for a couple of hours.
Mm-hmm.
It still felt like, one, you appreciate what I normally do by doing it, because you can say I appreciate you, but actually doing what you're saying you appreciate we do is totally different.
Okay, so before I let you slide off, I have one question for you. You like when he lightens your load of the duties that are normally assigned to you. Have you ever done what he does to lighten his load? So let's dig into it a little bit, and then we'll slide off. Did he pay most of the bills?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did he pay all the bills?
No, just most of them.
Okay. Was there ever a point where he came home from work and you were like, hey, you know what? Just to let you know, I really appreciate how hard you work and how you take care of the bills. And I paid the electricity bill this month.
Yeah, that was normal because I did pay some of the bills. But to answer your question, I have done that, but because I'm not like a handy person, I think it was like one hurricane season where I just went ahead and hired somebody to put up the shutters because it was a 2-story house. So it wasn't that easy, and normally that was his thing. He would get up on there, blah, blah, blah. So instead, I took it upon myself to let me hire someone. I paid the person to do it. And I thought that was a way to, lighten the load.
Did he have a problem with it?
He was like, I could have done it. Like, you didn't have to spend the money. And I'm thinking, but I thought I was lightening making your life easier. So that's a little confusing to me because men, I think they want to do, is it a pride thing? I don't know what it is, but I couldn't figure that part out too much.
So, yes, it's a pride thing. It's a pride thing. It's an ego thing, right? As men, if we are competent to do something, we would rather be the ones to do it, unless for some reason we can't, right? Right. So, like, if the reason he couldn't do the shutters was because he had to work a double, then his pride isn't going to be as affected, right? But if he's thinking in his mind, he working his machine or doing whatever he's doing, he working with his clients, he like, all right, so when I get home, I know Julie B ain't gonna have some dinner for me, something to eat, then I'm gonna go out there and put the shutters, do all of this. And then I come home and some other guy first of all, my wife still calls some other guy, right? I don't care if he's Larry, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if he's Larry from down at the pool hall with the cracky jeans. Why is Larry touching my house? Why did you call Larry? And did you think that I was not capable of getting this done, right? But I will tell you this though. I think that is an issue within us as men more so than your intention as a woman.
Yeah, I learned that now, but then at the time, that's exactly what I said. Why you call some guy to come? And I was just thinking, aren't you happy that you don't have to get up on the ladder and like drill and all this stuff? But yeah, he was just like, next time, just talk to me about it because I could do it myself. And I didn't understand because I'm like, that's manual labor that I'm eliminating from your day, you know? But like you said, it's definitely I think an ego thing because that's exactly what it said. He's like, some guy, why you got some guy coming to my house? And I was like, oh my God.
Oh, so I could put myself in his shoes. What up, the real life, Betty? I like to cut the grass, right? It's my peaceful time. I enjoy cutting my grass. If I came home and there was some random dude on his lawnmower, you know what I'm saying? Like, you call some other guy to cut my grass? Like, what? Oh, you didn't like the way I made the lines last time? You know what I'm saying?
But that, right? So then the question is, so you as a man, answer this question. What are things that we can do to show that we appreciate y'all? Because that's your ego. That's a you problem. Like, I was trying to be nice.
You're right. And that's fair. That's fair, Julie, because as men, you know, we like to think that we can do all things other than the things that y'all can do, right? You know what I'm saying? Like the babies and stuff like that and nurturing and stuff like that. So I would say maybe if you wanted to lighten his load and he's a hands-on type of person, it wouldn't be a good idea to have someone else come do that. But something a little less, you know, like let's say, I don't know, maybe he typically changed the light bulbs. Maybe you change the light bulb. You're like, babe, I changed the light bulb so you wouldn't have to do it, right? Because you got to minimize the shock to my ego, right?
I gotcha.
Because I know, right? I know you don't need me. See, so like, Julie, let me ask you this: can you do the shutters on your own?
No, absolutely.
Right. You need somebody else to do it. But I know that you can change a light bulb, right? So if you happen to do that, it's like I knew you could do that anyway, right? So I'm not as offended. But I might like, damn, you know what I'm saying? I was gonna do it, but it's all good. I appreciate it. Or depending on how much his self-identity is tied to his ability to pay the bills, you could either pay one of the smaller bills, or you could be like, you know what, I want to take you out to dinner. But nothing that is going to make him be like, oh, so you think I'm insufficient? You didn't like how I did the shutters when the last hurricane came through, so you called your boy.
And you know what's crazy? I didn't even know the dude. I just went on Facebook and was like, is anybody available to put up these shutters?
So you're picking randos. So you got this random guy touching my. You didn't even call your uncle, right? You didn't call your uncle. No. You call your uncle who we both cool with, and I can be like, oh, uncle's all good. Now you call some random dude from.
I was just trying to be nice. But yeah, I learned my lesson.
So now if he don't do it, the hurricane just come through and just knock the house over, and we sitting up in here happy.
I learned my lesson now, but it's definitely a something that I guess you've got to learn based on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not everyone is the same, and not everyone is gonna want the same kind of action, you know, or act of service. So it's a learning process for me.
Yeah. That's something else that just popped into my head too. Is like a good way to kind of map it out is if you say, well, if he does the dishes for me, that makes me feel really good. Is to find something that he does for you directly, right? So like, let's say, okay, I'll give you a real life example. I like feet, so I like to rub my wife's feet, right? I mean, I like foot rubs, but I don't have to have one, right? But if I were to come home from work and my wife is like, hey, you know, you want a foot rub? I'm gonna be like, hell yeah, I want to foot rub, y'all. Yeah, so that you on to something.
Got it. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So I think that might be a good match. But Julie Bean, I'll let you slide off. I know you're tired. I know you're getting your rest, and I ain't gonna hold you long. So if Keisha want to come in, Keisha can come in. If not, I'll do my spiel, slide off. I got a radio show to get to at 7:30, so this wasn't gonna be a long with it. But Julie Bean, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Have a good
You
week.
always come through for me. Have fun this weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, that is right.
Thanks for the reminder.
That's why I'm your life coach, Julie. What would your life be without your life coach? You would have forgot all about it, you know. And then we would have had a mediation session.
Oh Lord, thank you.
See, that's why you gotta keep me around. You gotta keep your life coach around. You need a good life coach in your life called Chels.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, we'll holler. So I just saved Julie Bean's life one more time. Julie Bean is one of my favorite people. She's a really good person, kind-hearted and all of that good stuff. Keisha says she's doing something with the kids today. It is all good. I'm not going to stay on here too much longer. I just wanted to make sure I drop in and stay consistent, holler at my people. So, yeah. Some people think chivalry's dead. Others don't. If you are chivalrous, you're more likely to get an act of service in return. So that's something to keep in mind. And like Coach Jay always says, I think it's important that we communicate with one another, even about the most mundane things. But it has to be like an open and safe space to be able to express the way you're feeling and all of that good stuff. So for the most part, my wife has done a really good job of taking care of the kids today. I helped out a little bit. So I'm going to go downstairs and we'll say, hey, you know what? You're doing a really good job. And I appreciate you. So other than that, unless anybody else has anything, y'all be good, be blessed, be safe, hug your loved ones. And I see y'all Monday around 5:30. Shoot me some topics. And I need more people on the live with me on Monday. Take your power back, baby. Peace.